I'm Terry Delavecchia. This is Tom Chaplin, and you are obviously watching your Encore Career. So hopefully that's where you want to be. What we want to do is talk about why it might be important, what an Encore Career is, and tell you a couple stories about Encore Careers. So here's my story, which is, I'm just going to make it short and sweet. We've got a few of them to tell you. Coaching is my Encore Career. I was in information technology at a number of different companies for many, many years. Worked my way up from, I'm going to date myself, key punch operator to a director. I told myself programming, did all kinds of stuff, and I absolutely loved IT. But I realized as I was in it longer and longer that I really like coaching and mentoring people. So I left IT and went into coaching as an Encore Career. And the reason I'm calling it an Encore is because I could do it at my own time. And, once I went back to school and got trained, but I could make my own hours and do it the way I wanted to do. So for me, this was my not retirement career, but just, my secondary career that I could keep doing long term. Another story is my brother-in-law. He was a car salesman for probably 40 years and realized that there's really no pension or benefits that you get leaving a dealership. They just don't have the best compensation package as far as that goes. So he went and learned how to drive a school bus. Great benefits, health insurance because you're working for, it's a kind of a government job because it's, Board of Education. So he's been driving a school bus for, I think, 12 or 14 years. And Tom, I know you have some stories too.
Yeah, and that's great because he can retire there. And
Right.
and I know that
And he gets summers off.
yeah, I know not everybody wants to drive a school bus because then you have to, I guess you have to be really good with kids. But certainly I've heard really good things about the schedule because I think you work early in the morning and then you get the rest of the day off until afternoon.
Yep, that's
So
exactly right.
yeah, I've heard a lot of perks. But yeah, and I think it's also important to just kind of recognize the fact that what is an Encore Career? I mean, really, what is it? It's we could call it something that you want to do differently later in life, perhaps. Maybe after 50, you're thinking, I've been doing this for a long time. How much longer do I want to keep doing the same old thing? Maybe I want to do something different. And a lot of times 50 is a turning point. Your values are starting to change. You're not building your career like you were in your 20s. You don't want to be that workhorse. And things you like have shifted. There are new things you like and new ways that you may want to work. So Encore Career is really a way of you being able to control your environment. Create an environment that you want. And that's what Terry did. And that's what sounds like your brother-in-law did.
He did. Yep.
But it doesn't have to just be about work. Maybe you want to keep, maybe you want to give back. Maybe you want to do something, but you don't really want to, work anymore. Maybe you don't need money. But you want to contribute somehow. You want to feel useful and stay busy. And that leads a lot of people going into signing up to be a volunteer. My mother did that. I think she was probably almost 70 when she signed up, when she started volunteering at the county library. And, her whole philosophy was that without a library, when she was a kid, she wouldn't have been able to read so much. She was an avid reader. And she said, it's just like she would check out as many books as she was allowed to and, carry them all home and then take them all back 2 weeks later and get another stack. And so for her, it was just giving back. It was something that was very, I guess, close to her heart.
Right. It was something she loved growing up. So she realized it would make her happy as an Encore.
yeah, to show that appreciation
Sure.
for something that she got for free, you know. um and but it's different for everyone. Some people want to keep working and making money regardless of whether you need money or not. Some people, I think a lot of times, you, there may be something that you've always wanted to do, but maybe the risk, you felt like there was a risk, maybe the risk was too great, and now you're in a better place where you can take that risk. But
Yep.
I think, I I would say that, Encore careers don't always, just manifest overnight. But if it's something that you're thinking about, certainly owe it, you owe it to yourself to give yourself that inner kind of exploration, that soul searching, to see what's going on inside. And maybe there is something more that you really do want to be doing. So
So let's talk about why now.
yeah, let's move on to the next slide here. So yeah, why now?
Right. And many people, when they're working for a large corporation, retire because they got their 20 years in or 30 years in, or you're in the military. So you wanted to get to that plateau where you get your retirement package, but you might be young enough that you're not 65 and ready to, kick the bucket, so to
Mhm.
say. And there are many options out there. So lots of people do it because they retired, because they could, and now they want to do something different. Like maybe, Tom's mother, where she wants to give back, or he wants to give back, or wants to just have another job where they're getting another salary for the
Right.
next
Or
10 or 15 years.
yeah, and maybe there's not the same pressure that existed before, where you have
Right.
to, kids in college, you got to make money, I mean, a lot of times your house is paid for, the kids are out of college, and
And now you're doing it for you.
yeah, yeah. So now it's your turn.
Sometimes, as we said before, like his mother, it's a chance to finally do something she always wanted. For me, it was fulfillment and joy in something very different than IT.
Right.
Coaching is obviously very different. I'm communicating with people and I'm helping others instead of bytes and bits on a server,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
And I think I probably started my Encore career when I was in my late 30s, because I I think I fizzled out on IT quicker than you did.
yes, you did. I still loved it a little bit longer than you did, but we,
Yeah.
the funny thing is we both have such similar experiences and backgrounds, which is why we've worked together for, I don't know, like going on 6 years at this point, I guess.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
my work husband.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, we need that. We need our work colleagues, because we don't have that working from home.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I know you, one of the things that we have on this bullet is I'm bored. And you have a story
Yeah.
about your next door neighbor. So let's
Yeah,
go into that one.
I was talking to my neighbor one day, and he's a retired professor. He from where is it, Widener University, and he and I live at the beach in Delaware. He retired to the beach, and he um he all he did was he had some volunteer things he did. His background was hospitality, by the way. He he worked for um what was her name, Leona Helmsley. He
Oh
worked
my
for
God, the woman, the hotelier in
yeah,
New York.
he worked for her.
A lot of negative stuff about her, by the way, but
Yeah,
okay, different story.
yeah. But that was before he was a professor, and then he ended up becoming and I don't know exactly. I think it was hospitality that he where he was teaching. But so anyway, it made sense when he retired. He knows all about the hotel industry, all about the hospitality industry, and he told me, he said, he was able to make it until March, and then he couldn't take it anymore, and he went out and got a part-time job at Marriott, working in the kitchen and
Oh,
at breakfast. And
Okay.
but it's something something that he really enjoyed was getting breakfast ready for the guests. They had, I don't know if they still have this, but a buffet bar. They probably took that away. But he went out and he would get prepare everything to go out on the buffet bar, and then and now he's working there full time, and it's just incredible because he gets these benefits that he hadn't planned on,
Oh,
travel benefits.
sure. Marriotts are everywhere.
Yeah, he can travel all over the place and stay at a Marriott.
But
So
it
that
still sounds like he really likes what he was doing. So it became, you know, he was bored with his old job, tried something new, really loved it, and then went full time because he could and he wanted to.
yeah, and it's not like he's making the type of money he was making before, but it's not, it doesn't matter. He's
That
he,
wasn't the point.
he's busy, and then he gets to take his vacations.
Oh yeah.
He works the summer because that's when it's so busy here,
Oh sure.
and then he can take off and travel in the fall and the winter and spring. So
All right, I'm jealous.
I know I keep checking to see, okay, what kind of openings do they have? But but it and that's not like something that he had aspired to do, but it's just kind of a fun job. And a fun job is an option too. Doing something that you're just enjoying. You're around people, you're busy, and the work itself is okay. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, so one of the things it is, as the picture shows, it's your second chance to do something that you want to do or that will give you joy or that you um, always aspired to but were afraid to.
right,
Because now maybe it doesn't matter as much if you do or don't succeed. It's just give it a whirl.
right, exactly. Yeah. And another, and this is a short story, but another one of my neighbors retired last year and then decided, I think he felt like I should be doing something.
Oh,
So he went in, he got a job part time in a local liquor store, very popular liquor store. It's huge, and and they're busy all the time. Um, and he only lasted about 2 weeks. He turned in his notice almost right after he started. He said he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But and he realized he didn't even want to work.
but
So
you know what? That's okay.
yeah,
Because
yeah, he
if
found
you
out.
right, if you feel guilty because you're not doing something and that guilt's just sitting with you, that's not good either. Then you're not enjoying your retirement because you're stressed about the guilt. So
Right,
he tried it, realized, who am I kidding? I don't want to do this. I'm okay.
right,
Easy
right.
way to figure it out.
It totally, yeah, yeah. He figured it out, and
He didn't want an encore career.
no, no, this video is not for him. Uh, but you also may be looking for, I think if you want fulfillment and joy and doing something different, and a lot of people get, I'm like that to a certain extent. It's like there's a certain amount of excitement that comes from doing something new.
Yes,
Just
it's
just
the challenge.
having a new experience, learning something new. There's something very rewarding about that.
But I got to tell you, when I left my full time, very well paying job, um, and decided to go into coaching, to begin with, sitting on the couch with my cup of coffee in the middle of the day and just reading book after book was totally joyous for me. I worked for me. I never didn't have a job after
Right,
school
right,
until I went back to school for coaching, which was only like what was it, a 9 month thing, a lot of work, but 9 months, 6 or 9 months, something like that. But at one point I thought I could be a couch potato. And then I realized, who am I kidding? I'll be bored in like 3 weeks.
yeah,
I still with my coaching job can pick, when I don't have any clients, I can sit on the couch and read or just walk my dog or whatever. So I have the best of both with the job that I have,
Yeah.
and you do too.
And you can make your schedule the way you want it
Yes,
to
exactly,
be.
exactly. All right, so want to go into requirements then, since we're already kind of talking about it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,
Go ahead.
well, I need benefits.
Yeah, like
Maybe,
Frank, my brother-in-law, he
yeah,
needed health insurance and he needed benefits. Complete retirement was not an option for him.
right. So he, obviously looking for that security that he could get. Yeah, and I think
And
um,
that's real.
very real. Yeah, I know that a lot of people do that in Fairfax County.
Oh,
There are a lot
and that's
of,
an expensive county. I mean, it is. It's close to
yeah,
DC. It's costly to live
yeah,
there.
and the benefits are good. Benefits are good. So, that's one reason that people do that. You still need to make money. But maybe what you want to do, maybe you'll need some additional training, and that's fine. That's fine. Like what you and I both, when
Right.
in order to become a coach, we went through an extensive training program to and became and got ourselves certified. It was that training itself was just fascinating.
It was. It was
Just,
fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it
oh
was a lot
yeah,
of work, and because so many people were working, a lot of the training calls were in the evening, which was a royal pain in the butt to me because I didn't,
weren't working.
right. It's like I'm not working. I want to have my dinner, a glass of wine, and that's not that wasn't on my agenda right away.
Yeah,
But it's a finite period of time, so there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and that was fine. I knew what was coming at the end of it, and I really, if I wanted to be a coach, I wasn't going to do it half-assed. I wanted to be certified. I wanted to
right,
actually understand that I was helping people, not hurting them. Um, but and the money, I was lucky. The money was not as important to me.
right,
I and the benefits weren't either. So, but I was lucky in that respect. For the people that still, let's say you leave the military for, as we said before, or you retired from a full-time job at a company where you got your pension and stuff, but you still have kids in school. Well, you may still need to make money. You may not need as much. So the requirements, your line in the sand for the minimum salary you need to make, is something you really need to think about when you're going into your next job,
right,
especially if you do have kids in school, or your house isn't paid off, whatever it is.
right,
What's the minimum you need? Not the maximum, because that's always great, but the minimum you need to pay your bills and put the kids through school and food on the table, maybe take a vacation. It might not be what your salary was. And that means you can do something different that really might give you more joy or give you a different challenge or an adjacency to what you were doing, but you're still making enough money to do whatever else you want to do because you had your old job and you
right,
got your pension and all that other stuff. And then when you talk about training, also, you got to think about what you want to do, because if your dream job for your Encore career, the requirements are you need a certification and it takes 6 weeks and it's $500, that's kind of a no-brainer.
right.
But if you need another degree and it's 2 more years and thousands of dollars, think about how you know whether it's something you're really going to like or not.
Right. And also, you may want to do some informational interviews around that to do some fact finding and find out, okay, if I get this certification, um, how marketable will that make me? Is that gonna give me something that, and maybe you don't care. Maybe it's not necessarily
Right.
important to be incredibly marketable, but if you need benefits and you want to make money and you're looking for something different, you probably do want to be marketable. But those are good questions, and it's also helpful as well if whenever you're exploring a different career or something new, just to talk to people who are already in doing that. They're doing what
Yes.
you are thinking you might want to do, because they're the experts. They're the experts on what they're doing. So,
Right.
you know,
Take
they're
somebody out for coffee, buy them a drink.
yeah,
Getting
yeah, they're
getting
a
the
wealth
real
of information.
skinny. Yes, absolutely. It is the smartest thing you can do just to find out, a day in the life for real, not what you read in a job description, because they're always very general and you don't know what it really is like. So talking to someone who is actually doing whatever it is that you think you'd like to do,
Yeah,
way, way better. When I was still in IT, I love animals. And if you see anything about me on Facebook or anything, I've got pictures of my dog. I have a ferret. I've had birds, you name it. I wanted my kids never to be afraid of anything. So we've had snakes, iguanas, whatever. I'm a whack job and I admit it. Um, but I volunteer at the Humane Society. And I'm not afraid of blood or that kind of stuff. And they needed somebody to assist during surgeries for dogs and cats. And I thought, okay, I can do this. It was fascinating. I didn't need any extra training. I was just there. I was putting the like the finger thing, the pulse ox stuff on, but it goes on the ear for a dog or a cat, and making sure that these things don't fall out, that all that's fine. And I'm watching them neuter and spay animals. And none of that bothered me, except they don't give you breaks. They want to get all these dogs or cats in and boom, 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 boom. So you're in there for hours on end. And I thought, you know what? I'm a volunteer. I want to be able to eat my sandwich. I want to go take a break for like 30 seconds in between
right,
animals. I realized after 2 or 3 times of doing this, not for me.
right, right.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Trial and error is not a bad thing.
Not at all. No, not
You'll
at
figure
all.
out soon enough what you do and don't like, especially when it
Yeah,
is something like an encore and you don't have to do it.
you totally do. And this, my one thing my financial planner told me was, which I thought this was great career advice, was to he said, I tell people to get volunteer jobs. If it a lot of times a volunteer job will lead to a job. It'll lead to
Yes.
a full-time job. And then he says, and people tell me that they're in this volunteer job they're sick of. And I say, leave it.
Yeah, what are you there for?
Yeah, what are you
I
doing?
don't have to stay.
You're a
And if
volunteer.
right, and if I had spoken to somebody who was doing like the surgery tech, I probably wouldn't have volunteered for that at all. Except that, I
Right.
mean, it was fascinating. So I loved it the
Oh,
first
good
time because it
point.
was really interesting. I've never seen them do a spay or a neutered, and
Yeah,
it was really interesting. But if I'd spoken to somebody, I realized I was not going to stay in there long term doing that.
yeah.
And
That's
I
a good
didn't speak to
point.
anybody. So
Yeah.
your point before about networking and talking to somebody totally has merit.
Yeah, before you make any big commitments. Yeah, it's a
But
good.
you're right. You don't like it, you're a volunteer. You can always
Yeah,
walk away.
yeah, get out.
Yep.
So I guess, we're at this point now where, if you know what you want to do, you're maybe you've known for a long time. Maybe you're just coming into clarity about around where you want to go next. But let's say that, and I've had clients like this, and it's, they're just so passionate about something,
Hmm.
but they just can't make the jump.
Right.
and
They can't
and
figure out how to get started.
well, they're, most of the time, because they're in positions where they're paid so well that the money, it's like giving up that money. How could I possibly do that? you know yeah, that's an important consideration. It doesn't mean that the money's never going to come back, but
Well, and
the
it's thinking about, do you really need it, or you are so used to it that sometimes your ego gets in the way.
yeah, yeah,
It's in the way because, well, what's somebody going to think of me now? I'm doing X as opposed to Y. Look, I was up here and now I'm down here. So what? Does it make you happy? Will it make you happy?
Right. And a lot of times, for most people, there's, when we're talking about making a change, there's fear. Fear comes
Oh,
up. It's
definitely.
that voice in your head that wants to keep you safe and say, oh, I don't know, you better think twice about this.
Change is scary.
Yeah, it's very scary, because we're all, we like our comfort zone, and stepping out of the comfort zone is means taking a risk.
Yep.
And, of course, if you have family that could possibly be impacted by you making a change, you need to, of course, have their support. You definitely want to have their support. It's always better when you have that. If they don't support you, if they're against it, well, that's
That's kind
something
of a,
else.
yeah, that is a completely different conversation, really.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But,
the other thing is,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sometimes it's trying to figure out, you're done where you are now, and for whatever the reasons are, retirement, you want to move on, whatever it is. But there are so many opportunities out there, and it can be overwhelming. And
Yeah.
that's, so the only thing you can do there is think about your passions and what maybe some of the side things that you used to do. Maybe you love bike riding, so go volunteer at a bike shop. You've got all the experience to talk to somebody about bikes. I mean, think about your adjacencies. Think about the things that you enjoy doing in your spare time. Could you do that as a volunteer or as a part-time job? So get out of your way. Get out of your own way.
Great advice. I feel like you're speaking to me.
I know you like to bike.
I know, and I'm thinking, it's funny because this morning I was reading about the bike clinic. They've been setting up these bike safety clinics along, out where people bike, and they have all these volunteers there. And I was thinking, how did I miss this? This would
Oh,
have been great for me. I would have, yeah. So anyway, little segue.
yeah, but you
Um,
totally would have enjoyed that. I mean, there are
yeah,
people that, as their new part-time job, became dog walkers because they love dogs and they can just do it here and there, lunchtime or dinner time
right.
for this group. And why not? All you're doing is
Everybody
out in
wants
the
their
open,
dog
and
walked.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's easy.
and it's great money.
It is. It's really, and there
It's
are so many people
really
that
great
work full
money.
time, and the only children they have are their dogs.
Yeah, yeah. It's very good money. I'm surprised. No, I'm not surprised. People, you know, they get into situations and they need their dogs walked.
Yeah,
Um,
no doubt
so
about it.
okay, so what else? What else do we want to say here? Are we done
Um,
with this?
I Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, maybe, just before we leave, I'll say, you know, if you really want to do something and you're not doing it, and this one client is just coming is loud and clear in my brain at the moment, who just was so passionate about something, and just would not allow herself to take the risk. So you really need to kind of look. It may require doing some soul searching, but what's holding you back?
Yeah.
What's standing in your way? What's preventing you from doing something that you really love? It's a big question, but and sitting down and answering that question sincerely is can make you feel better, actually. And then
Yeah.
maybe ask yourself, what would it take? How could I do this? How could I have what I want and still do this?
What's
Yeah,
the small thing you can do now to move forward?
yeah, yeah. And I think I'm thinking of one person I know um, who worked, um, and he was a project manager, I believe. Project manager, yeah. And but his passion, he loved that, by the way. He was really good at his job. I think he was probably the type of person who would love whatever he did. But outside of work, he would he would leave work and then basically say, then I'd go do my career, which was a cappella. He was part of
Oh,
an a cappella group, and they would,
wow. I love to sing.
yeah,
Okay.
perform all over the DC area. And, but that was his passion. And, in work was just, that was
The
good too.
bills. It
Yeah,
paid the bills.
does that. But anyway, a lot of times you don't have to quit your job to do something you love. A lot,
Correct.
you can do them both. Okay.
So we had some questions that you need to think of in order to move forward and to do whatever you're going to do. Um, and these are things that we think you need to just sit down and really answer. Take
Mhm.
some time. If you don't know what you want to do, or if you're worried about it, obviously, if you do know what you want to do, and you watched this video and thought, okay, I'm ready to rock and roll, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you're still a little hesitant or a little afraid and afraid to stick in that big toe in the water, um, go through these questions.
Yeah, and I think another thing you could do, these questions are great for helping you to figure things out, but also, you may just want to do some creative writing about it. Write a sit down, and um, I have clients do this when they're unsure about something, but just imagine that you're doing it and write a story about how you're already in that place, you're doing it now, and it's worked out. Everything's worked out. How did it work out? You can get as clever and detailed and as you want, because you're projecting this into the future.
Right.
And when you project into the future, what happens to that negative voice inside your head?
Boom.
He
Goes away.
stays in the present. It doesn't come with you. So, you're free to create and really explore something that you want to do. Or maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know what you want to do, but still you can do some creative writing around it and just explore.
And
So
some of that is you're doing it for the future, but you're doing it as though you're there. Like, I am doing this. This is what it looks like. This is
yeah, right.
how I feel about it. It's all those things, because you're kind of
Good point.
almost
Yeah.
making it a reality.
Yeah. That's a great point. You don't want to write it in the future
Like, I
tense.
might be doing this, or I
Yeah.
should. There is no should.
Yeah. You can start it by saying, okay, it's 5 years from now, and here I am, and this is
Right.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then it's all present tense. But yeah, that's an excellent point. That's important. Okay. What else
That
do we want to say?
I don't know. I think we might have
Maybe we have covered
said it
everything.
all. I think we do, except for the last slide that says how to get in touch with us.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep. So email us anytime, coaching@jobgreatness.com. Thank you for joining us. We love you taking us into your home, and enjoy your encore career. I can't say that again. Enjoy your encore career.
Yes. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.